If you're ready to level up your React skills by building projects, then this tutorial is for you. In this video, you would learn to build an e-commerce website from scratch using React, and we're going to be styling with the Win CSS. You would learn to build a navigation bar, hero section, product list, footer. You would learn to add to carts, display message when the product has been added to carts. You would also learn to create a cart page. In the cart page, you would learn to increase and decrease quantity of items in the cart. You would learn to add more items to the cart. So right now we have 3 to 4 items in our cart. You would learn to view product details page. That means you're going to be creating a page to view the products. So let's go through this together. So first, we'll start by building the navigation bar, which is very simple, by the way. Then we're going to build this captivating hero section that is going to show what this website is about, basically. So we have this header, step up your fashion game, and we have 3 images and also star icons here. Then we have the product list. And by the way, the navigation bar is fixed. So irrespective of where the user is scrolling to, the navigation bar is going to remain fixed. So this is the product list right here. So in the product list, we have the product card. In a card, we have an image, the name of the product, the price, and a button to add to carts. And then when you click on the product image, it's going to lead you to the products page. So this is what the product page is going to look like. You're going to see a bigger picture of the products. You're going to see more details about the products, and also it has a call to action button where the user can click, and then it's going to add the product to the cart. When adding product to cart, you're going to get a notification message showing product added to cart. So basically, this is what we're going to be building. Now, for our cart page, we have this cart page right here. We have our header, shopping cart, the number of items that we have in cart. We have the icon here to delete the entire item from the cart. We have the description, quantity control, the price, and then the total price. Now let's go through each of them. So first off, the item that we've added to the cart, we have the image of the item, we have the name of the item, we have this icon here to remove this specific item from the cart. We have this quantity control, we have the price, and then the total. Now we have 2 items. For this particular item, we have 2, and then the price is $45. Total will be $90 because we have the price is $45, and then we have 2 of this, so the total is 90. Let's say we have 3 of this now, the total will be 135 because the price is 45 and we have 3 of this. If I increase, you're going to see that the total has increased as well. So this is what our cart page looks like. This is the left side, and then for the right side, we have the cart summary. Number of items is 7, subtotal is 315. Shipping in this case is free. Promo code, the user will enter the promo code. And then we have total cost to be 315. And then we have a checkout button right here as well. So let's say I click on this icon, that product is going to be removed, and then you're going to get a notification saying product removed from cart. Let's say I click on this as well, that product will also be removed from cart. Okay, and let's say I click on this icon, the entire product is going to be removed, and then you're going to get a message saying your cart is empty. So basically, this is what we're going to be building in this tutorial. So we'll build a nav bar, the hero section. We're going to build all this from scratch using React, and we're going to be styling with CSS. Let's get started. So the first step is to open your code editor. I'll be using VS Code. Then we're going to navigate to terminal. Click on new terminal. I'm going to be using the bash terminal. So right here on our terminal, I'm going to change directory to desktop. So cd desktop. Then I'm going to create my React app, the React folder in the desktop. So I'm going to do npm create vit arc latest. The name of the app folder is going to be Ecommerce quotes hyphen then template React. Then I'll press enter. Ensure you're connected to the internet when you're doing this. So now you're going to see, let me expand this. You're going to see this now. So that is done. We've created the project folder. Now we need to run these 3. So first we need to change directory to the folder that we just created. So change directory to e-commerce clothes. Then we're going to install React dependencies, npm install. Press enter as well. So now you're going to type in code once this has been installed, then space, then full stop, then press enter. This is going to open the project folder that you just created in a new window in VS Code. As you can see this now, you can see that this project folder, we have it right here. Okay, so I'm going to close this and I'm going to expand this. Okay, So this is what we're going to be working with. We have our node modules, public folder, source folder, git ignore, index, package.json, package.log.json, package.json, readme, and the bit.config.js file. So now navigate to terminal. I'll be using bash terminal, and now we're going to start our server so that we can see if the default React app is working perfectly well. So I'm going to type in npm run dev, then I'll press enter. Okay, you can see right now that our server has started. So not terminal, so click on follow link, and right now this is what we have. This is the default React app. Everything is working perfectly well. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is to install other dependencies that we're going to need for this project. So first off, we need React icon because we're going to be using icon in the project. We need React router DOM so that we can navigate between pages, and we also need React Tostify so that we can get those notifications when we add to carts, remove from carts, and all of that. So first off, React icon, React router DOM, and also React Tostify. So for React icon, once you're on this page, npmjs.com/package/react-icons, you're on the right page. So you click on this installation code right here, and then you paste it in your terminal. So I'm just going to, our server is currently working and I don't want to stop it, right? So I'm just going to open a new terminal and I'm going to paste the installation code right here. Okay, next is this React Tostify that we have here. So if you're on npmjs.com/package/react-tostify, then you're on the right page. So just copy the installation code and then you paste it in the terminal. So I've pasted the React Tostify here. I'll press enter. As you can see, React icon has been installed. If you check package log.json, you're going to see the dependencies that we have now. So right here you can see React icons. Okay, once we have installed React Tostify, we're also going to see it right here. Okay, as you can see now, React Tostify has also been added. Okay, version 11.0.05. Alright, now for React router DOM, we'll open this as well. So if you're on npmjs.com/package/react-router-dom, you're on the right page. So just click on the installation code and then you paste it in the terminal. So now that we've installed all the dependencies that we need for this project, the next thing is cleanup. So first I'm going to delete app.css because I'm not going to be using it in this project. Then I'll open my app.css, Control A, delete everything that we have. Then I'll type in refc, press enter. So this refc is just a shortcut to create React snippets. If you type in yours and it does not work, that means you do not have this dependency, this extension. You need to have this extension, ex7 React Redux React Native Snippet extension. So if you do not have this extension installed, you might not be able to use the refc that I just used now. Okay, so just search here ex7 plus React /Redux /React Native Snippets and install the extension. Alright, so now that we're done with that as well, Control A, we'll delete this as well. Okay, so for the entire project, we're going to set our margin to 0 and the padding to 0 as well. And then the next thing we need to do now is to create our components, pages, and also get our assets. Okay, so first off, we need to get all of the pictures that we're going to, all the product pictures basically. So I have that already, so I'm just going to paste it in here. Okay, so now I've pasted all the pictures. And also we have this data.tsx file in our asset folder. So in our data.tsx file, this is where we have the array of objects that is holding each objects representing the product. Okay, so I have all of the images right here that I've imported, and also we have the array right here, and this is an object, and this is a product details, right? So we have the ID, we have the image, we have the title, we have the price, we have categories, and we have description as well. Okay, same thing, ID, image, title. So each of these objects represents a product that we're going to display. Okay, so you'll be getting this file as well in the description. Okay, so just check the description to get the file. All right, now let's create our components and pages. So first folder will be the components folder, and then the second folder will be the pages folder. So in the components folder, we're going to have the navigation bar folder. In the components folder, we're going to have the hero section folder. In the components folder, we're going to have the products list folder. We're going to have the footer folder. We're also going to have the carts folder, and we're going to have the shop context folder right here. Okay, and in the pages folder, we're going to have the home page, and also we're going to have product details page folder. So for each of these folder, we're going to create the JSX and CSS file, except for shop context and home page. Okay, so right here for carts, we're going to have cart.gsx refc to create React snippets. Press enter. Then CSS file cart.css. Okay, so we have the JSX and CSS file. Close this. Now for the footer.gsx refc footer.css as well. Okay, we'll create for hero.gsx refc hero.css. We'll do the same for navbar.gsx refc to create React snippets. Press enter. Then we'll have navbar.css. Press enter as well. Then we have the product list. So product list.gsx refc, and also we'll have products list.css. Now for shop context, we'll come back to this later. But for home page, we're just going to have home page.gsx. The home page will not have a CSS file because we're not going to be styling. Then we're going to have product details.gsx refc. Press enter as well. And products. Okay, so product details.css. Okay, so now that we've created the JSX and CSS file for each of them, I'm going to close it. The next thing we need to do now is to set up our route. Okay, so we're going to be setting up our routes in app.gsx. Well, first off, in our main.gsx, we need to wrap our entire application with browser router so that we can navigate between pages in the application. So I'm going to delete this, and then delete the strict mode. Then I'll turn this to a comment control /. Okay, so let's wrap the application with browser router. So right here, we're going to have browser router from React Router DOM. So since it has already highlighted, so I'm just going to press tab. Okay. And I'm going to cut this, Ctrl X, and I'll paste this in between browser router. So now we have wrapped our application with browser router. Okay, so now that this is done, we can now set up our application in app.gsx. So right here, the first step is to mount our navbar and our footer before setting up our routes, because we want the navigation bar to be at the top of all pages and we want the footer to be at the bottom of all pages. So I'm going to mount navbar with a self-closing tag, and I'm going to mount footer as well with a self-closing tag, but I need to import these two components. So I'm going to import navbar from dot forward slash, and then I'll press tab because I'm choosing components slash navbar folder tab slash navbar. Okay, then I'm going to import footer as well. Import footer from dot forward slash component slash footer slash footer. So now in between navbar and footer, we're going to set up our route. I said earlier that we want the navigation bar to be on top of all pages and the footer to be at the bottom of all pages. So every other page will fall in between the navigation and the footer. So right here, we're going to have routes with an S from React Router DOM. So once it suggests this and you see that it's from React Router DOM, just press in tab so that you can import right here. Then I'll close this. Okay, so in between the two, I'm going to set up the routes without an S route. So the first route that we need to set up is for our home page. So the path is going to take forward slash. Then we're going to have element and be equals to home page. So we're going to mount our home page right here. And the next route that we're going to, now you can see that this has two dots. Okay, so we need to add the route here as well. We need to import it. So routes. All right, so we're back. Next route that we need to set up will be for the product details. So the part is going to be a dynamic part. So dynamic in the sense that we want to be able to view a specific product details based on its ID. So we're going to add the ID when we're setting up the route. So we're going to have slash product slash colon ID. Okay. Then we're going to have elements be equal to product details. Then we'll close this. Then we'll close this as well. Alright, so now I said we want to be able to get specific product details, like a particular product in the product list. We want to be able to view the details using the ID. And in our asset folder right here in our data.gsx, we have uniquely identified each of the product objects with their ID. So we want to be able to view the details of the product with their ID. So each object here has an ID, each product object has an ID. Okay, so that's why we're using the ID here. Next thing is to set up the routes for our cart page. So we're going to have routes. We'll set the paths slash carts. Then we'll have elements. We'll mount the cart components right here. So now we need to import all the pages and components that we've used here. So right here, I'm going to import cart from, we have our cart folder in the component. So we're going to have, so instead of having to retype, so I'm just going to copy this and I'll paste it here, but I'm going to change this to carts. Okay. Next thing is the home page. Okay, so we're going to import home page from, we have home page in pages, so slash pages slash home page. Then we have the product details. So we're going to import products details from dot forward slash pages slash product details slash product details. Okay, so now that we have all of this, the only thing we should be seeing in our application would be our navigation bar, our home page, and the footer. Now let's check it. And as you can see, that is the only thing that we have here. The navigation that will be on top of all the pages, the footer that will be at the bottom, and then the home page. Okay, so let's say we want to navigate to the cart page. I'm just going to type in slash cart. Navbar, we have the cart and we have footer. You can see that. So let's route back to the main application, navbar, home page, and footer. So now let us start with the navigation bar. I'm going to close all of these and I'm going to open the navbar folder, navbar.jsx, and then we can start building our navigation bar. So in the navbar, we're going to have a div tag with a class name of navbar. Inside this navbar container, we're going to have 3 div tags. First will be the navbar link. Then the second would be the logo. The third would be the nav icon wrapper. So in the links, we are going to have a list. We'll have 2 list items. First list item will take home and the second will take collection. Then for the logo, we're going to use an h2 tag, and then this is going to take this. Now for the nav icon wrapper, we're going to use our icon. So first we need to have a div tag. We're going to have a div tag for the carts. So we're going to have nav carts and also the carts quantity. So that will be in a p tag dot nav carts amount. Okay, so in the nav carts, we're going to have the icon. Okay, so the icon that we want to use is, let me cancel all of this. So to get React icons, you can do it in 2 ways. Either you type in React icons, just type in React icons, not the npm package. So once you type in React icons, you're going to see this website, react-icons.github.io. Click on this and it will lead you to this page, okay, where there are several React icons. So what I do basically, instead of having to go through each of them, is just to type in a keyword that will match the icon that I want to use for that project. So I need the bag icon. I'm just going to type in bag and you're going to get several icons that would match with this keyword bag. As you can see, they are loading right now. You can see the skeletons right here. Okay, we have several bag icons right here that you can choose from. You can choose any icon that's going to suit your style of project. Okay, so we're going to be using this icon right here. All right, so you can either copy. So let's do the first step. Copy this, paste it at the top, and then copy the tag itself and paste it as well where you need it. Paste the tag where you need it. Okay, you're going to get the icon. Or let me do Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. Okay, if you do not want to go through that, if you do not want to visit the page, since you have installed React icon, you can just type in the keyword as well, bag, and React is going to suggest list of icons that is going to match that keyword. So you're going to see several icons that you can choose from. Okay, so this is the icon that we want to use, this bag outline icon. You click on it, then you close it, and you can see that it has imported as well. Okay, but I would advise that you visit the website because you can see the icon as it is, and you know if it's going to suit the project that you're working at. Okay, so I use this, like I type in the keyword and choose an icon when I've already built the project, so I already know which icon to use. But if you're just starting out, you don't know which icon, just visit the React Icons website, type in your keyword. It does not always have to be bag. Let's say you want to use a user icon, you can type in user, so that you're going to see several icons that you can use, and then you can select from. So these are users, these are several icons that you can just choose from. Let's say you need the menu icon, you can just type in menu, and then you select the icon that suits you. Let's say you want to use the laptop icon, you're going to see a list of icons that is going to display as well, and then you can choose from it. Okay, so but in this tutorial, I'll just be typing the icon, and I'm just going to select from the list of icons that React is going to display, because I already have the icon and I know which icon that I want to use. Alright, that's enough about icons. Let's continue with the project. Alright, so we have a p tag here which has no value, so I'm going to initiate the value with 0. Okay, so the idea behind this is that on our cart, that is on this bag icon, we want to display the quantity of item that we have in the cart. So right now, I'm going to initialize it to 0 until we write the function that is going to undo that. And then we're now going to mount it right here. So in our navigation, this is what we should see. Home collection, that is the list. Shop X, which is the logo, and then we have the icon and the cart's quantity. Okay, so let's dial our navigation bar. So we created the CSS file already, so I'm just going to import dot forward slash navbar dot css. Okay, then we'll open our navigation bar dot css, and we'll start by styling the nav container itself. So I'm going to paste this. So first we'll set the padding to 30 pixels. We'll set padding inline to 80 pixels. We'll set the display to flex. Justify content, space between, and then we'll set the background to this color code. Next thing is the link. We have the list inside the link. So dot link list. We want to set the display of the list to flex. We'll set a gap of 20 pixels between each of the list items. Then we'll style the list items now. Link ul li. List style, we're going to set that to none. We're going to set the font size to 18 pixels, and then the font width will take 600. We want to transform the text to uppercase. Then we have the, so now we're going to style the nav icon wrapper, and for the nav icon wrapper we're going to set the display to flex. Then we have the nav cards. So for the nav cards, we're going to set the display to flex as well. Position will be relative, and then we'll set the cursor to pointer. Okay, what else do we have? Alright, so the p tag, this cart quantity is supposed to be inside the nav cards. So we're going to have that. And also we need to give this icon a class name. So I'm going to give it a class name of nav underscore icon. So now let's dial this nav icon. So for this, we're going to set the font size to be 34 pixels, and then I'll set margin left to be 35 pixels. Then we have the nav cart amount, which is the quantity of item that will be in the cart. I'm going to set the background color of this to red. I'm going to set position absolute. I'll set the right to -9 pixels. I'll set the top to -11 pixels. I'll set the font size to 12 pixels, and I'll set the height to 20 pixels. The width will take 20 pixels as well, so I'll set the width of this to 20 pixels. The text color will be white. Border radius, I'll set this to 50%. Display would be flex. Justify content, center. Align items, center. Okay, so this is what we arrived at. So this is what the navigation bar is looking like. Next thing we need to work on now is our hero section. Okay, and the hero section is going to be in the home page. So I'm just going to mount. I'll close this, then open the home page, and I'm going to mount the hero in the home page. I need to import this as well. So I'm going to import home page from dot component slash hero slash hero. Okay, so now let us open the hero section and start working on the hero section. You would see right here that okay, we have an error. Let's see what's wrong. We have an error in the home page.gsx. Okay, this is supposed to be hero, not home page. That was a typo error. All right, so we're back to normal. Okay, you can see now that hero is right here. So let's work on the hero section. Okay, so in the hero section, we're going to use 3 images. So we need to import the 3 images first. So I'm going to import hero. I'll name the image hero image from dot forward slash dot dot come on dot forward slash dot asset folder slash the first image will be the third cloth 3 dot jpg. Then we import the second image hero image 2 from dot asset slash the second image will be cloth 6 dot jpg, as we have it in the asset folder. Okay, and the third image hero image 3 from dot asset slash clothes 11 dot jpg. Okay, so we have 3 images that we're going to be using now. We've imported them. Next, let's start working on our hero. So we'll create div tag for the hero container. We'll have an h1 tag that will take this text, step up. Then we'll have a break. Then we'll have your fashion game. So after this h1 tag, we're going to have a div tag with the hero image display as its class name. All right, here we're going to have image on the left, image at the center, and image on the right. So I'll create the 3 div tag. The first one will be hero. Let me just say display left. So we have, let's name this display left for the first div. Then we'll have display center, and then we're going to have display right. Okay, so for the center, we're going to have an image tag and then we're using the third image. So I'm going to have hero image 3. Then we're using an icon as well. So I'm just going to type in star border plus star border purple. That is the name of the icon. So I'm using this icon, and I'll give it a class name as well before I close the tag. I'll give it star icon, and then I'll close it. Okay, so this is what we're going to have in the first. So let me just separate it so that we're going to see it clearly. So in the first div tag, which is the image that will be displayed on the left, we'll have the image and then the icon. Then for the center div tag, we'll have our image tag, and we're going to be using the hero image. So hero image. Okay, then for the right one, we're going to have, first I'll use the star rate icon. So I know the icon that I'm using, that is why I'm typing it directly. So I'm just going to click on it right here, and I'll give it a class name of star icon as well. And then we'll use an image tag as well. Image, and right here we're using the second image, hero image 2. Okay, so this is what we have in the hero section, and you can see it right now. These are the images. So let us style it, and these are the stars. Let us style the hero section so that it's going to look much more presentable. So we'll start by styling the hero section, but before that, the h1 tag, the header tag that is in the hero section, we're using a different font for it. So we're just going to head to Google Fonts. So Google Fonts, and right here I'll click on this. So on Google Fonts, we're going to use these fonts. I already selected the font, so I'm just going to go directly to it. So the name of the font is, let's see, name of the font is EWERT. I don't know how to pronounce it properly, so we're using this font. I'll click on Get Embedded Code, and this is it right here. Okay, so we're using the import rule, right? So we're going to copy this here. We're going to embed this in our CSS. So I'll click on index.css, and I'm going to paste this here first off. Then the CSS class, I'm going to copy it, and then I'll paste it where I need it. So I'm just going to paste it here for now so that I can come back to it. Okay, so now let's style. Since we have gotten the fonts that we need, please guys, if you have not subscribed and you have watched to this point, please subscribe to my channel. Please, it will take nothing to subscribe. Thank you so much. If you have done that, please like, share, drop a comment if you find this tutorial fantastic, and also share with people that you feel this tutorial will benefit. Alright, so let us import our hero section. We're going to import hero. We want to style, right? So we're going to have import dot / hero dot css. Okay, so we'll close this and then open hero dot css. We'll start styling hero section, display. We're going to set this to flex, text align, center, flex direction. We'll set this to colon, align items at the center as well. We'll set padding to 20 pixels. Background color, we'll take this color code. Then we have the h1 tag. So dot hero h1, text transform to uppercase. I'll set the font size to 5 rem. I'll set margin top to -30 pixels. I'll set position to absolute. text should be at the center. So text align center. Then we need to set the font family, the font weight. So we already have that here. I'm just going to copy it and then I'll paste it here. Okay, let's format our document. Okay, next thing we have is the hero image display. We need to style this as well. We're going to set display with flex. Gap will take 90 pixels. Padding inline will take 10 pixels. Justify content space between. Margin top of 80 pixels. Then we have this display left. Okay, so dot display left. We're going to set display to flex. We'll set the gap to 10 pixels. We have an image in this display left, so we'll style the image as well. We'll set the width to be 250 pixels. The height will take 400, and then I'll set border radius of 120 pixels. I would set object width to cover, and then margin top will take 100 pixels. What else do we have? We have the star icon here. So dot display left star icon. We'll set the font size to 74 pixels, and then margin top will take 100 pixels. Position, we'll set that to relative. Then we have the display center. So for this display center, we have an image. We'll set the width of the image to 390 pixels. We'll set the height to 580 pixels. We'll set the border radius to 170 pixels. We'll set object width to cover. Then we have display right. So for this, we'll set the display to flex. We'll set gap 10 pixels. So the gap between the image and the star icon, right? So display right image. The width of this will take 250 pixels. The height and the border radius will take the same as this. So I'm just going to copy this and then I'll paste it here. We have the second star icon. So to differentiate, I'm just going to give this star icon 2. Okay, so display right dot star icon. We'll set the font size of this to 54 pixels, and then the margin top will take 290 pixels. Alright, so this is what the hero section looks like right now. This looks very good. Okay, so now the next thing that we need to work on is our product display. Okay, so now that we're done with our hero section, we'll close this now and we're going to work on our product lists. Okay, but before that, we need to create our shop context. Okay, so I'm coming, let me type this. Okay, so the shop context basically is where we're going to store our data. So we're going to, like with shop context, you can store data in one place and you can access and update it directly from any component using the use context. So shop context is like a shared storage room for the shop states in React app. So instead of we're going to say instead of passing data around between components manually, any components can just walk into shop context and then pick what they need, modify what they need from the shop context. So see the shop context as a centralized place to manage all product related data and carts. So the shop context is going to be like our global store for everything related to our products and shopping carts for this particular project. Okay. So right here, we're going to have our product state so that the product list component can just come and pick product from the shop context, modify the product, and then display it as the lists. So now let's create our shop context. So first off, we need to import React from React package. Then we need to create our context. So we're going to have const shop context be equals to create context. So because we want other components to have access to this, I'm going to use export. Okay. Next thing is to import the product data. Okay, so I'm going to import product data from the asset folder dot asset slash data. Okay, now next step is to create our context provider. So we're going to have const shop context. We're creating the shop context provider function. So shop context provider, then we'll pass in children. So for the children components, okay, and we need to export the shop context provider function. So I'm going to export default shop context provider. Now, inside the shop context provider function, we need to use the return statement, right? So we're going to return shop context dot provider, and in between this we'll pass children. In the shop context dot provider, we're going to be passing in the values that we want to use in other components and pages. Okay, so let's move on. So the first thing now is to create the state variable that is going to hold the product data and the setter function that will update it. So we're going to have const product setter function set products, and then use state. By default, we're going to initialize the product state with our product data. Okay, so if you hover on this now, you can see that what we have in the product data is what we have in our products. So the product state right now, the product state variable is storing the product data. So now right here, we're going to have the value, and then we're going to pass products. The product state's value is going to be here so that other components and pages can have access to it. Okay, so other pages and components can have access to the products which were already initialized with product data. So now the next thing is to ensure that our application is wrapped with shop context. Okay, so here I'm going to have shop context provider. So I'm going to cut what we had earlier. I'm just going to cut this, and then I'm going to paste it in between. So we're doing this to ensure that our entire application is wrapped with shop context provider so that all the components and pages in the application can have access to the datas, the state variables, functions, and setter functions that we're going to have in shop context. We want to ensure that the application is wrapped with shop context so that the application can have access to what we have in our shop context. So now that we have this now, then we're good to go. Ensure that once you wrap this, you have imported this as well. Okay, so this is done now. Now we can now create our product list. So in the product list, first off, we need to extract the products that we want to display in product list. So I'm going to have const products will be equals to use context. Remember that we're getting our products from shop context. So we're extracting the product state from shop context, which is what we passed as a value here. Okay, so now that we have this now, we can now create our product list UI. So for this, let me delete this and I'll create a div tag with the class name of product list. We'll have our h2 tag with these texts, our elegant collection, oh, come on, collections. Then we'll have a div tag for the product grid. I'll just give it product grid. So in this div tag, we're going to map over the product state so that we can display our products. So open our curly braces, then we'll have products dots map method. We'll pass products, and then next thing we're going to do now is to destructure products. Okay, I'll explain in a bit why we're destructuring. So with the structure, image, title, price, everything will be equal to products. So we're destructuring basically because we want to have a cleaner code. Okay, so destructuring the products is useful for better readability. It makes your code easier to read and understand at a glance, and also for shorter syntax, so that it's going to reduce repetition and it will keep our GSX cleaner. Okay, so instead of having, like, when we start using this product here, instead of having products.id, products.image, we're just going to pass the ID, the image, the title directly. You're going to see what I mean by that now. So right here, let's create our UI. I'll create a div tag. We want to create each product card now. Okay, so I'll create a div tag. I'll give it a class name of product card. Class name product card. Okay, and then we'll pass an ID as well, so that we can uniquely identify each of the card. The ID, the key is going to be, the ID is going to be the key, right? What we're doing now is mapping, right? We're mapping over the product data that we're getting from shop contexts, which we've initialized with our product data right here. And then now we'll be structured so that we can have a cleaner code when we start when we start displaying the product data. Now here we want to create our product card, each product card. We're mapping here so that we can display each product card, and this is the product card right here. We're using key, which is ID, to uniquely identify each of the cards so that they can have their values. So right here in our assets in data.jsx, this is product data, right? That we have stored here in the product states, and we've passed the value here so that other components can have access to it. Product list is a component that is having access to this right here. Now we're mapping here to display each card, and they were uniquely identifying each of the card with key, which is the ID, and this is the ID that I mean. We want to uniquely identify each of this. We want to display this as a card. We want to display this as a card. We want to display this as a card. I want to identify them uniquely, so we're using ID to identify each of them. Want to display the image, the title, the price, category, and description of this particular object in a product card. So that's why we're using ID to uniquely identify them. So now in our product card, we want to first display the image of the product. So I'm going to use the image tag, and then for the source, we're going to have image. If we had not destructured right here, this would have been, if this, let's say I make this a comment, we're going to have products dot image. But because we have destructured here, let me uncomment this. We're just going to pass image directly instead of having to have product.image. Let's say we want to have title, product.title, stuff like that. So that's what the structuring is for. It makes us write a cleaner code. Now let's say I give it a class name of product image. Then after the image in the product card, we need to have the title and the price. So I'll create another div tag for product info. In product info, we'll have an h4 tag for the title. So I'm just going to pass title directly because of the structure here. We're just going to have title, not product.title. Then we're going to have the price, $sign first. Then we'll pass in price directly instead of products.price because of the structured, right? Then after this div tag, we're now going to have the button to add to carts. So I'm going to have button. I'll give it a class name of add to carts. I need to take this text, add to carts. Okay. So this is what we want in the product card. This is the entire product card. We want the image, we want the title of the product, which is the name, we want the price, and we want the button to add to cart. So this is what we have in product card. Let me close this. Now we're going to mount the product list component in the home page. So after the hero section, we're going to have product lists. So we'll mount this here. And now if we check now, this is what we should have. You can see all of the products have been displayed. So now that we have all the products displayed, we need to style it so that it can look much more presentable. So we're going to open product list.css. Let me close this home page and then we can start styling. But first we need to import our CSS file into our GSX file. So we'll start by styling product list container. I'll pass it right here. Then we'll start with the max width of 1200 pixels, margin auto. We'll set the padding to 20 pixels, text align, center, margin top of 80 pixels. Then we have an h2 tag here. So we're going to style that. The product list h2. I'll set the margin bottom to 20 pixels. I'll set the font size to 2 rem. And then the color with this color code. Next thing here is product grid. So display the grid. We want to display our product card. And then grid template columns repeats. So we'll set it as autofill. Minimum and maximum should be 250 pixels. Then we'll set a gap between each of the cards with 20 pixels. Then we have product card. That's the next thing to style. So for product card, I'm going to set the background color to white. I'll set the border to 1 pixel solid. This color code. I'll set border radius of 8 pixels, and then I'm going to set padding as 15 pixels. Then we have product image. I'm going to set the max width with 100%. I'm going to set border radius to 8 pixels, margin bottom to 10 pixels, height should take 250, and then transform scale of 0.9, and I'm going to add transition. So transition transform 0.2 seconds is in X. Then if you overrun the product image, we're going to set transform scale of 1. Then next thing we have here is the product info. We have an H4 tag and a P tag inside the product info container. So for product info H4, I'm going to set the font size, so 1.2 rem, and then I'm going to set the margin 10 pixels, 0.5 pixels, and then I'll set the color with this color code as well. Then for the P tag, I'm going to set the font size to be 1.5 rem, and I'm going to set the color with this color code. Next thing on our list should be the add to cart button. So for add to cart, we'll set the width 100%. We'll set margin top to be 10 pixels. I'm going to set display as block. I'm going to set padding to 10 pixels, and I would set the background color with this color code F05C01. Oh, background color. Okay. Then we'll set the border to none. We'll set the text color to white. I'll set the font size of the text in the button to 1 rem. And I'll set cursor to pointer, and then border radius of 5 pixels. So this is what it looks like now. This is what we have. We have each of the product cards. These are cards. The first card here, we have the image, we have the title of the product, we have the price, and we have the button to add to cart. So this is what each of the cards look like. So now the next thing we need to work on is ensuring that once the user clicks on this add to cart, we're able to add to cart. So we need to work on the cart logic to ensure that users are able to add to cart, delete from cart, see the number of products that they have in the cart and all of that. So let's work on our cart logic now. Cart system. I said earlier that we're going to be having the cart logic in shop context so that other components can have access to the cart state and update the cart state without having to pass it down as props. So we're going to have our cart right here in shop context. So first off, we need to create the state variable that is going to hold the cart data and then a setter function to update the cart when there is a change. And by default, we're going to initialize the cart data with an empty array. So we're going to have const cart setter function set cart be equals to use state. We're going to initialize it with an empty array. So now after this, we're now going to create another state variable and a setter function for quantity. So the state variable is going to store the quantity of items that we have in our cart, and a setter function that is going to update the quantity if there is a change. And by default, we're going to initialize the quantity with 0. So I'm going to have const quantity setter function Oh no, quantity. Yeah, comma setter function set quantity. Use state would be 0. Also, we'll create a state variable for the total price and the setter function to update the total price, and we're going to initialize that to 0 as well. So I'm going to have const total setter function, comma, set total, use states. By default, we initialize the total with 0 as well. Then we can now start writing the functions. So the first function that we're going to write is to calculate the total price of items that we have in the cart. So we're going to be using use effect for this so that it can run an effect whenever the price change. So we're going to have use effect. Then we'll create this function right here. So the first is to use the reduce method to calculate the total price. So I'm going to have const. This variable here is going to store the total price. So total will be equals cut dot reduce, open our bracket. We're going to have our accumulator, comma, current item. Okay, so let me close this so that we can have a larger screen. Now, we are now going to create a variable to convert the price to a number, and then we use an if statement to check for invalid prices. If the price is invalid, if the price is not invalid, then we'll return the accumulator. So let's do that. Let's convert first. And price as a number is going to store the conversion. So price as number will be equal to, we want to convert to a floating point number. We want to convert the current item price. So we're going to have current item dot price. Okay. Then skip invalid prices if the price is not a number. So if price as a number is not a number, we're just going to return accumulator. But if it is, which is going to be after this if statement, we're going to add price times quantity to the accumulator. So we're going to return accumulator plus price as number multiplied by current item dot amount, the amount that we have for the current item. And I'm going to initialize the accumulator with 0. Okay. And so we're going to update the total state once we have the total. Set total, we'll call the set total function and then we'll update the state with the new total. Okay, so this is basically the new total. We're using the reduce method and then we're working on all this logic. So first we use the reduce method to calculate the total price. Then we're converting the price to a number. So the current item price, we're converting it to a number. And then we use an if statement to check if the number that we converted is not a number, then it should return accumulator. If it returns a string, if the price as number is not a number, it should return accumulator. If it is a number, then we want to add the accumulator with the price that we've gotten multiplied by the current item times amount. Then we're updating the total state. And then I'm going to add cart here as a dependency array to ensure that the use effect runs when the carts change. Okay, so that is for total price. Next thing we need to work on now is the quantity of items we have in the carts. So we'll use effects for this as well. First off, we need to check if the cart is not empty. So if cart exists, then we'll use the reduce method to sum up the quantity of all the items. So const amount would be equals to cart does reduce. We're going to have our accumulator and then current item as well. Then we'll return accumulator plus current item dot amount. So basically we're adding the current item amount to the accumulator, and then I'm going to initialize the accumulator with 0 as well. Now we can now update the quantity. So we're going to have set quantity amount, and I'm also going to pass cart here as dependency array to ensure that the use effect runs whenever the cart changes. After this, the next function that we need to work on is the function to add a product to carts. Okay, so I'm going to name the function add to cart. So we're going to have const add to cart is the name of the function. We're adding products and ID. So I'm going to have products and ID right here. Okay, so first we need to create a new item with the initial quantity of 1. So I'm going to have const new item will be equal to spread the products, comma, we initialize the quantity with 1. Next step is to find if the product is already in the cart. So we're going to have const, and we'll save that in cart item in this variable. So we use find method cart.find item. We'll check if the item ID matches. So we're going to return. We want to find if the product already exists in the cart, just to return it. So this is what we're using to check if the product already exists in the cart. If it does exist in the cart, if the product is already in the cart, we'll map over the cart to update the quantity of the existing item. So we're going to check if cart item, that means if the product exists in the cart, which is this right here. Okay. If the product exists in the cart, let's map over it. So const new cart would be, we'll spread the cart dot map pass item. Then we'll check if the current item ID matches the product ID, then increase the quantity. So if item dot ID equals ID, then you return spread item, comma, amount. We'll update the amount with cart item dot amount. And if the product ID, if the item ID does not match with the product ID, we're just going to return the item. So I'm just going to use an else statement here. Else return item. Okay. Then we're now going to update the cart state with the updated quantity. So we're going to set cart with new carts. Okay, so basically what we did here, or better still, the first line of code here is to create a new item with the initial quantity of 1. Then for these 3 lines of code, we're checking if the product is already in the cart. We want to return the product that is already in the cart, the ID of the product that is already in the cart. Then for this line of code right here, we're using an if statement to check if product already exists in the cart, which is the first 3 line of code before this. If the product already exists in the cart, we're mapping over the cart to update the quantity of the existing item. Then we also want to use an if statement to check if the current item ID matches the product that already exists in the cart. Then increase the quantity to 1. That means we have the product in the cart before, but the user still wants to add the same product again to the cart. So we're checking what the user is adding now with what already exists in the cart. If they match, then increase the quantity by 1 again. Otherwise, return the item as it is. That means add the product newly to the cart because it does not exist in the cart, right? And then if the two conditions are met, if either it exists in the cart, we re-add it to the cart. That means we increase the quantity by 1, or it does not exist in the cart, then we add it newly to the cart. We are updating the cart states with the new cart. Okay, so then we also need to check if the product is not in the cart at all. We want to add it newly to the cart. So we're going to use an else statement where this if ends. Set cart. We want to update our cart states with the new cart, new item, and then we'll display a toast notification. Toast from React Toastify dot success product added to cart. Okay, so let's see. React Toasty file has been imported, but in our app.gsx, we're yet to use the toast container. So right here, I'm going to have toast container from React Toastify, and I'm going to close this right here. Okay, so back to our code. I hope this line of code is understood. We're using an if else statement to check if the cart item exists. That means this part, if it exists, if any product is already added to carts. Okay, so if the cart item exists, we'll map over the cart to update the quantity of the existing item. And we're using an if statement to check if the current item ID matches the product ID, the existing product and the cart. If the new item that the user wants to add, if it matches, then we're increasing the quantity. If it doesn't, then we want to return the item as it is and update the new cart. And if the cart is not, if the item is not in the cart at all, then we are adding it newly to the cart. So this is our add to cart function. So the next function now, after this add to cart, is going to be the function to clear the entire cart items. So I'm going to name the function clear cart. So I'm going to have const clear cart. Okay, so to delete the entire cart, we just need to set the cart state to an empty array. So I'll use the set cart function. Then I'll set it to an empty array. And also I'll display toast notification. Toast the success cart empty. Okay. Then the next function now is to write a function to remove a specific product from the cart. I'm going to name the function remove from cart. So const remove from cart will be equals to, first we need to filter out the products with the specified ID. So we need to get the products. We need to get the ID of the products that we want to remove from our cart. So we're going to have const new cart will be equals to cart dot filter item. Now we'll keep only items whose ID doesn't match, and we'll remove the item that their ID match. So we're going to return item that the ID does not match. So item.id that is not equals to the ID of the one that we want to remove. That's the only product that we're going to be keeping. Then we're going to update the cart state. So set carts with the new carts in this function. Also, we'll display a toast notification. Okay, set carts set. We'll display a toast notification toast dot success products removed successfully. Okay, so this is a function to remove products from carts. Then the next function that we need to work on now is to increase the quantity of a specific product in the cart. So I'm going to name the function increase amounts or increase products. So let's just name it increase quantity and we're increasing specifically by ID. The first step here is to find the product in the cart by its ID. So we're going to have const cart item will be equals to cart dot find method. We want to find the item, so we're going to pass in item. We want to find the item dot ID that matches with the ID of the one that we want to increase. When we find it, we're now going to call the add to cart function and reuse the logic to increase the quantity. So we're just going to have add to cart. We'll call the cart item where we're storing the ID, and then we'll pass the ID as well. Okay, so this is the function to increase the quantity of a specific item in the cart. Now let's write the function to decrease the quantity of a specific item in the cart. I'm going to name the function decrease quantity. And we're decreasing specifically by ID, so I'm going to pass ID right there as well. So first off, we need to find the product in the cart by its ID. So we're going to do the same thing, const cart item is equal to cart dot find item, then return item dot ID that matches with the ID of the one we want to decrease in the cart. Then next is to check if the product exists in the cart. We'll map over the cart to update the quantity. That is to reduce it. So we're going to check if cart item const new carts be equals to cart.map item. If the current item ID matches the product ID, then we'll decrease the quantity by 1. So we'll do if item.id equals ID, then return item, then we'll decrease the amount, cart item dot amount, we'll decrease the amount by 1. Okay, and if it does not match, we'll return the item as it is. So return item. Now we're going to update the cart state. Okay, if the product quantity, so we use an else statement here, else. If the product quantity is less than 2, we're just going to remove the product from the cart. So if cart item dot amount is less than 1, then we'll remove it from the cart. We'll just call the remove from cart function and then pass the ID of that product that we're trying to decrease. Okay, if it's less than 2 here. So we have all the functions right here. So this is basically all the logic that we're going to be using. And now we need to add them to these values here so that other components can have access to it. We need the cart state. We need the add to cart function. We need remove from cart function. We need the clear cart function. We need the increase quantity. We need the decrease quantity. We need quantity itself. And also we need total states. Okay, so we have all the functions right here. Now we're going to create the cart page. Before creating the cart page, let us add the add to cart function to our products list to ensure that once the user clicks on this add to cart button, they are able to add to cart. So right here, we need to extract it from shop context. So pass the add to cart function. And then I'm going to call the function here using an onClick. We'll call the function add to cart. And then we're going to pass ID. And also we want to specifically add products with their ID. So we're going to have product, comma, ID. Also, the next thing we need to do in the navigation bar, we want to ensure that we're able to see the number of items that we have in cart in the nav cart. So right here as well, we need to extract it. So we're going to have const. So right here, we want to get quantity from use context, shop context. And ensure that your shop context has been imported as well. And right here, instead of having 0, before we just have 0 as a placeholder. Just we initialize the value with 0. Now we're going to have the quantity itself. So that when the user adds to cart from the product list, the number of items that divided to carts will display in the navigation bar on top of the cart icon. So let's put this to test now. Right now we have 0 items in the cart. If we click on this, let's add 1, 2, we should see 2 items right now. You can see right here that we have 2 items in our cart. Okay, so that means this add to cart button is working perfectly well. And now what we want to work on is when the user clicks on the cart icon, it leads them to the cart page where they can see all the items that they've added to the cart, and then they can increase the quantity of the item, decrease, remove from cart, and then proceed to checkout. So now in the navigation bar, we're going to use the link tag. So from React Router DOM. So right here in between this tag, I'm going to put the cart icon, the entire container for this, and then we need to link the tag to /carts. So let me delete this. Okay, so ensure that when you're creating a link, the source matches with whatever you route in your app.gsx with the path. So this path here is /carts, and the element is for the carts page. And that's the same thing that we're doing here. So this link would lead us to the carts page. So let's try that now. If I click on this, you can see that we're on the carts page. And also you can see that the cart has changed color to the purple color, showing that we've already clicked on it before. So this is the carts page that we have now. So let us continue. Now in our index.css, for the anchor tag, which is for link tag, I'm going to do color black, and then text decoration, let's just do none. You see that this has changed back to its original color black. So throughout this entire project, for every anchor tag, the color of the text is going to be black. Okay, so now let's create the cart page. So I'll close this now, and then I'll close this as well. I'll close this, then I'm going to open our cart page. So in the cart page, we need to extract the cart state variable. That is the variable that we're going to hold in the cart that we've already declared in our shop context. We need to extract the clear cart function, the total function, and quantity. Okay, and also we're going to have the cart details page later. So let me extract that first. Const cart state clear cart function, the total state, and then quantity will be equals to use context shop context. We need to import shop context from shop context from dot forward slash shop context slash shop context. So for this now, we have extracted what we need for this particular page, for the cat page. So I'll create a div tag for our UI, and the class name is going to be cat container. Inside this cat container, we're going to have the left and the right side of the cart. So on the left side of the cart, we're going to have our headers, we'll have the subheaders, and then we'll have the cart details, which is going to display all the items that we've added to the cart. And then on the right side, we're going to have the cart summary. So let's create cart left for the left side, and also cart right. So on the left side, we're going to have the cart header, two headers by the way. So the first one will be the main header. We'll have an H1 tag. We'll have two H1 tags. First one would be shopping cart. And then the second H1 tag will be for the number of items that we have in the cart. And that is going to take quantity, which we have extracted from shop context. That's the quantity of items that we have in carts. We want to display it. And then we're going to use the trash icon. And for the trash icon, we use an on-click method to call the clear cart. So the trash icon on this page is to clear the entire cart. So I'm going to use trash. So I'm just going to type in trash, and React is going to suggest list of icons that would match it. So I'm going to be using this second icon here. And then I'll close it. Then I'll use the on-click method to call the clear cart function. Okay, so this is for the first header. Now the second header, which is going to be our subheading, will have four span tags. First one will be product description. The second span tag would take, let me space them out. The second one will take quantity as the header. The third one will take price, and the last will take total. Okay, so this is for. Then after these two div tags, we're going to have another div tag for our cart details. So here we'll have cart detail. In the cart detail, we're going to display the items that we have added to cart. That means we need to map over the cart states and then display the cart details page. So now we're going to create a new folder for cart details page. In the cart details page, we're going to have the extensive cart details where we're going to add the image, the quantity, the price, and the total. Okay, so in carts.jss, which is the main cart page, would map over cart states to display cart details. So let me have REFC here. Okay, we've created this. Now let us map right here in the cart detail. We're going to have carts.map pass item, and then we'll open this down. Then we're going to display the cart details page components, and we're going to pass item, which will be equal to item as well. And then we'll pass the key to uniquely identify each of the cart details to be item.id. Then we'll close these components that we've mounted here. So we're mapping over the cart states to display the cart details page. Okay, we have nothing here yet, but we'll have the details soon enough. So on the right section, we're going to have a cart summary. So we'll have the header, cart summary. Then I'm going to create a div tag for the summary item. So we'll have the first div tag, summary item. In the summary item, we have two spans. So for the first span tag, it's going to take the number of items. So I'll have items here. And then I'll separate this. The second span tags will take quantity because that's what's representing the number of items. After this div tag, we're going to create another div tag for cart summary. In cart summary, we're going to create, so here we'll create summary items, but it's going to be 4. So we'll have 4 summary items. First one will take 2 span tags. So we're going to have span multiplied by 2. This will take subtotal. So for the second span tag now, we're going to have the total. So I'll use the total right here. Now for this other summary item, oh no, Ctrl Z, we're using total. Okay, there's a typo error here. Alright, so now this is correct. Now for the second summary item, we're going to have the shipping. So I'll use 2 span tags as well. First span tag, we're going to have shipping fee, and then the second span tag here is going to be free. In this case, shipping fee is free. Now for this other one here, we're going to have, okay, we should have just one left, so I'll delete this. So for this, we're going to have 2 span tags as well. Span tag 2. First one will take total cost, and then the second span tag will take total. So I'll pass total here, and then after this div tag, we're going to have the checkout button. So I'm just going to have button dot checkout, and it's going to take this text checkout. So now we need to work on the cart details itself. So open the cart details page. In the cart details, we should be able to remove the particular item, the specific item added to the cart from it. We should be able to increase the quantity of the item and also decrease the quantity. So I'm going to extract, remove from cart, comma. To avoid typo error, let's just copy it. We're going to need increase quantity and decrease quantity. So I'm just going to copy both, and then I'll paste them right here. So this should take a curly braces, not this will take a curly braces as well. E equals to, use context, shop context. So right here, shop context. Ensure that shop context has been imported, just like this. Now that we have all the functions that we need, next thing we need to do is to destructure our item. Right here in the cart, we have an item here that we passed as a props, and also to uniquely identify each of the cart's details, we're using this key and its item.id. So we want to identify each item by their ID, each item that has been added to the cart by its ID. So we need to destructure item so that we can have a cleaner code. So we're going to have const ID of the item, we need the title of that item, we need the image of the item, we need the price of the item, and then we need the amount, which is going to be the price of that item. So everything will be equal to item. Okay, so I've destructured the item that will be added to the cart, that will be displayed in the cart details. Okay, so now that we have this, let us work on the UI. So here I'll have a div tag for cart item. Inside this, we're going to have the product details. Then we're going to have the quantity control. So I'm going to have the quantity. After quantity control, we're going to have the price. After the price, we're now going to have the total. Okay. So in the product details, we are going to have the image, the product info. The product info is going to be the title of that product, and then the icon to remove the product from our cart details. So let's start with the image. And our source right here is going to be image. Instead of having item.image, we've already destructured item, so it's just going to be image directly. And then we need product info. So we're going to have dot product underscore info container. In the product info for container, we're going to have our h3 tag for the title of that product that we want to see the details. And then we need the remove icon. So I'm going to type in trash so that we can get the trash icon. I'm using this trash 2 icon. So I'm going to be using this. I'll close it. Then it will have a text remove right in front of it. So now we're done with product details. Next is the quantity. So for the quantity, we're going to have 2 buttons. And then I'm going to separate the buttons. Between the buttons, we're going to have the span tag that would show the number of items that we have. So here, I'm going to type amount. For the first button, we're going to call we'll use the onClick method to call the decrease quantity function. So here we're going to have decrease quantity, and then we're going to pass the ID so that we can decrease the quantity of that particular item that is in the cart. And then we use an icon. We would use the remove icon. So I'm just going to type in the name of the icon. Okay. Then I'll close it. So that is for the first button. The second button would use Ctrl Z, would use onClick method to call increase quantity. So here, increase quantity, and then we'll pass the ID as well. So we're going to have the add icon, MD add icon. I'm going to type in the name of the icon directly, so I will just use it. So we're using this icon here. So we're using this icon to increase quantity, and we're using this icon to decrease quantity. Okay, so this is it. Next is the price. And here we'll have a $sign, and then we'll call price to get the price of that item. Next is the total. So for the total, I'll open a curly braces and then a backtick. We'll put a $sign. Okay, we want to convert the total just in case it's in a floating point number. So we want to have the pass floats. So if we have the value in the floating point number, it won't be a problem. And then to get the total, we need to do price, the price of the item multiplied by the amount of items that we've added. And also, if it's in a floating point number, it should be fixed to 2 decimal places. So here it is. So this is the total, this is the price, this is the increase and decrease button, and this is the product details. And then right here, you can see that remove from cart has not been used. So it's supposed to be called here. I'll use the onClick method to call it remove from cart. So we'll call the remove from cart function. Okay, so it's supposed to be like this. Remove from cart, then we're going to pass the ID of that particular item that we want to remove from cart. So right now, this is what we have, right? We have the header, shopping cart item, this to delete the entire thing, this description, cart summary, the subtotal, total. Now let's try to add an item to the cart. Let's add these two items to the cart. And then you can see that we have the images. Okay, we have the image, the name of the product, the remove, the increase and decrease is working as well, and then summary. So now let us style so that we can make it look more appealing to the eyes. So let's do that now. So now let's style. We're going to open cart.css. Before styling, we need to import our CSS file into our GSX file. So I'm going to import /cart.css. We'll start by styling the cart container. I'll copy this and then I'll paste it right here. For cart container, we'll set the display to flex and then justify content space between. We'll set the padding of 20 pixels. Then we have the left, cart left. So for this, we're going to set the width to 65%. Background color, take this color code, and then I'll set the padding of 20 pixels and also border radius of 10 pixels. Then we have the right. Let's style the right as well. So for cut right, I pasted it twice, so I need to delete one of it. I'm going to set the width to 30%. I'll set the background color with this color code. I'll set padding of 20 pixels as well. And I'm going to set, no, we don't need border radius. We don't need border radius here as well. That's true. Then next thing is going to be the cart header. So for cart header, I'm going to set display to flex, justify content, space between, margin top of 20 pixels, and then we'll set the font weight to bold. Then we have this trash icon here. I'll give it a class name so that I can style it. And the class name is going to be delete cards because the icon stands for deleting cards. So that's why I'm giving it this class name. So for cart header dot delete cards, I'll set the font size to 22 pixels. Then next thing is the second cart header has a span tag. So cart header span, I'm going to set the font size of this to 20 pixels and then margin left to 90 pixels. Then we have the cart detail, which is literally this. So let's just start styling this now. Start with cart item. So for cart item, display would be flex, justify content, space between, align items at the center, margin top would take 20 pixels, and then we'll have a padding of 10 pixels. Then we'll have a border bottom of 1 pixel solid, and this color code 1 pixel. I missed the X. Then we're going to style these product details that we have here. So for the product details, we'll set the display to flex, justify content, space between, align items, center, and then we'll set max width to 50%. Next is the image. In product details, I'll set the width and height to 60 pixels each. And then I'll set margin right to 20 pixels. Next thing we have here is this H3 tag. So I'm going to set the H3 tag is in product info. So I'll copy product info dot H3. I'm going to set the margin of this to 0. And I'm going to set font size to 18 pixels. Then we have the quantity. So I'm going to copy this and I'll come paste it right here to style. Oh, Control Z, Control Z. Quantity alone, just this text. So I'll copy this and I'll paste it here. Okay. So for quantity, we'll do display flex, align items, center. Then in the quantity, we have 2 buttons and the span tag. So dot quantity button, we'll style the buttons. I'll set the width of the button to 30 pixels and the height with the same value as well. I'll set background color with this color code. I'll set border to none, and then cursor will be pointer. Display, I'll set this to flex, align items, center, justify content, center, and then I'll set the font size to 18 pixels. Then we have the span tag. So dot quantity span, I'm going to set the margin. Next thing here is the price and then total. So we'll style both dot price, comma, dot total. I'm going to set font size to 16 pixels and then text color with this color code. Okay, so we're done styling this. Next thing is to continue with this from where we stopped. We've styled the cat details, which is this. Now we need to continue styling. We'll style cat right, which is for cat summary. Now for this, we'll start with the H2 tag. Remember that we've styled the container itself right here. Okay, we've set the color, we've set the width, and we've set the background. Okay, so let's continue with the H2 tag. We're going to style the font size. I'll set that to 24 pixels. Margin bottom to 20 pixels. And then we have the summary item. So in the summary item, display would be flex, justify content, space between, margin bottom, we take 10 pixels. Then for the last summary item, we want to make this, so we want to ensure that this is bolder, so I'll give it another class name, total costs. So I'll copy this now, and then we'll have the summary item dot total cost. We'll set the font weight to bold and then the font size to 18 pixels. Then next thing here is the checkout button. So for this checkout button, I'm going to set the width to 100%. I would set the background color with this color code 4CFF. And then I'll set the text color to white. And I'll set the padding with 15 pixels. I'll set the border to none. And then I'll set cursor, pointer, and then margin top to 20 pixels. So right now, this is what this looks like right now. Okay, so we're missing few things. We're missing the dollar sign here in the subtotal and also in the total. So let's add that in cart details. So total, you should have a dollar sign. Subtotal as well should have a dollar sign. Okay, so we'll fix this. So if I reduce the quantity, you can see that the price is changing as well. If I increase the quantity, the price is changing down to the summary. Okay, so right now it's showing that we have 10 items in the cart because we have 5 here and we have 5 here. We have 11, we have 5 here, we have 5 here. If I click on this, it's going to delete the entire item that we have in our cart. And we can head back here to add more. You can see 2 items already in the cart. But we can increase the quantity. If I click on this now, it's going to remove that particular item. If we head back here, we can add more. We have 2. We can still add more. We have 3 items in the cart. If we check our cart page, you can see all of the items are being displayed. Okay, so this is working perfectly well. Now, the next thing that we need to work on now is to ensure that when the user clicks on any of these images, it leads them to the details of that product. Like it leads them to a page where they can see more about the product and also add it to cart from that page. All right, so let's do that now. I'm going to close everything relating to carts because we're done with carts. Now let's work on the product details page. Right here, when we're setting up our route, we set up the route to view a particular product details based on its ID, right? And now this is the product details page that we want to work on. So I said that we need to ensure that when the user clicks on the image in the products list, which is all the list of the product here, if they click on this image, it should lead them to a particular page, right? So in the image, we'll use a link tag from React Router DOM. Okay, and then the image will be in between. Ctrl X, I'll paste it right here. Okay, now we need to set the path where this image is going to, where the link is going to lead to the image to. Ensure that link has been imported as well. So let us set the paths. So right here, we're going to have 2. Then in this case, we're going to open our curly braces, open our backtick because we're dealing with a dynamic route. So /product /$ curly braces, then product dot id. Okay, so if we check app.gsx now, you can see that's the same thing that we still have here. /product /:id. Same thing here, /product /product.id. Okay, so if we click on this now, it should lead us to product details page. And you can see right here, localhost port 5173/product/ the ID of this product is 3. Okay, let me open another product. This is the first product, the ID is going to be 1. This is the second, the ID will be 2. This is the third, the ID will be 3. This is the fourth, the ID will be 4. So we uniquely identify each of the products by their ID. Okay, so now let's work on the product details page such that when the user clicks on the product, they should see the details of that product, like more details of the products, like the description, a bigger picture, and then an add to cart button. So let's work on that. I'll close this and this as well. Close this. Now we'll open product details and let's get to work. So in our product details page, the first thing that we need to do is to get our product data. So I need to import product data, products data from the data file dot forward slash dot forward slash assets slash data, because we're going to be using the array of objects in this product data to display the product details. And then in the product details page, you want to be able to add to cart as well. So we need to extract the add to cart function from shop context. So this will be equals to use context shop context. And we need to import shop context as well. So I'm going to import shop context shop context from dot forward slash dot forward slash components slash shop context slash shop context. Okay, so now that we have these two, another thing we need to do is to get the ID of the product that we want to view the details from the parameter. So we're going to have const ID will be equals to use params from React Router DOM. Remember that we're viewing a product detail by its ID. So we want to be able to get the ID of that particular product that we want to view the details. We want to get the ID from the parameter. Then after this, we are now going to get the product based on that ID. We want to get the details of that product based on the ID. So we're going to have const product will be equals to products data from the file that we imported dot find, we'll pass product, open brackets. If we have found that product, this is return. Okay, this is supposed to be a curly braces. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. This should be curly braces. Okay. And then we'll remove this extra bracket that we have here. Okay, we want to return the product.id that would match with the ID that we're fetching from the parameter. So we'll convert the ID that we're fetching from the parameter to an integer. So what we're basically doing here, okay, from right here, we want to get the ID of the product that we want to view the details from the parameter. And then also we want to get the product from the product data. We want to get the details of that product from product data. Once we have the detail of all the products from product data and then we have the ID, we're now going to return the product.id from product data, product with a particular ID that would match the ID of the product that we're getting from our parameter. We want to match both together so that we can display the right product. We want to display product.id, which is from our product data file. We want to display it based on the ID that we're fetching from our parameter. So once we have this in place, we can now display our UI. Now, right here, we can now design our UI. So first we'll have products underscore details container. In here we'll have the left and the right side. So dot details left and also dot details right. So in the details left, we're going to have the image and the source is going to be products.image. That means the product that we're fetching from products data dot image. Then on the right hand side, we want to have the title of the product. So it's going to be product dot title. Then we want to have the price of the product. Dollar sign product dot price, and also we want to have the description of the product dot description, and then our button to add to cart, and in the button we're going to use an on click method to call the add to cart function, add to carts, and then we're going to pass products and ID, products, ID. So this is what we have in our product details page, and now you can see this. Okay, so we're displaying the products based on the ID that were fetched on the parameter, and then we'll now search through the product data file and match it with the ID that we have in the parameter. We'll match it with it and then display it in the product details page. So that is what we have. Now let's style this so that it's going to look much more presentable. So open product details as CSS, but before that we need to import /product details .css. So we'll start by styling the product details container, Ctrl C, and then we'll paste it right here. So we're going to set display flex and then padding of 80 pixels. Next thing is the details left. In the details left we have the image. So we're going to have details left image. We'll set the width of this to 480 pixels, 460 pixels I mean. Then we have details right. So for details right, we're going to set the padding of this to 70 pixels. And then in our details right, we have an h3 tag. So the details right h3, we're going to set the font size to 30 pixels. And then we have the product price. So we're going to have dot details right dot product price. We'll set the font size to 22 pixels, and then we'll set the color to red, and we're going to set margin top of 10 pixels. Then we have the description here as well. So the product rights dot description, we'll set the font size to 20 pixels, and then we'll set the color to this color code, and then margin top of 15 pixels. Then we have the button. So dot details right button, we'll set padding to 1 rem, 3.6 rem. We'll set margin top to 15 pixels. We'll set border to none. We'll set the background color to red, and we'll just set this to white. Okay, let us see. Now this is what it looks like now. Okay, so if we add this to cart now, you can see that this product has been added to cart. Alright, so this is working perfectly well. Now the next thing we need to work on now finally is the footer section. So I'm going to close this too. and then close the pages, and we're going to open the footer. Okay, so for our footer section, we're going to have a div tag for footer, and then we're going to have the footer content. After the footer content, we're going to have the copyright. So copy. Let's start with the footer content. In the footer content, we'll have the name and also the socials. The socials will be outside the name. Okay, so dot socials. So in the name, we'll have an h2 tag, shop X, and then for socials, we'll have Facebook icon. We want to use Facebook icon, so I'm just going to type in Facebook, and React is going to suggest list of icon that matches with this keyword that I've typed. So I'm going to be using the first one, Facebook, and then Instagram, and then we're going to use X, formerly known as Twitter. Okay. Now for the copyright section, we'll have our P tag, and then we're going to have this text. Okay, so for the socials, the icons, I'm going to give them each of them a class name of icon footer. So I'll copy this, paste it here, and paste it here as well. And then I'm going to mount, I think we already mounted footer right here. All right, so let us just style the footer. So I'm going to import ./footer .css. So we'll style footer. I'll paste this here. I'll set padding bottom, so 3 rem. I'll set the background color to black, and then all text color would be white. Then we have the footer contents. We'll set display to flex, justify content, space between, we'll set padding to 30 pixels, and then border bottom. We're going to set this border bottom to 2 pixels solid, and then this color code. Then we have this socials. So for socials, I want to style each of the icon footer, the footer icon. So footer icon, we're going to set the font size to 22 pixels, and then margin left to 10 pixels, and then copyright section as well. Let's copy. Text should be at the center, and then padding should take 15 pixels. So this is what our footer is going to look like at the end of the day. Now that we've come to the end of this tutorial, please do not forget to like, subscribe, share, drop a comment, and let me see what you think about this tutorial. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.